Hi, this is Michael DeSilvis from New Hunter Church of Christ. I got a email from somebody, and they told me I could share this, but they said to me, I need some advice. It says help. I said, well, and I started reading the body of the email, and it says, well, I know of a son, I know of a parent that is really angry at a friend because he has suggested that maybe their son has did something with their daughter inappropriately. And I said, well, and then I go and read the letter, and it says, well, this is what the person's saying. I heard that this girl is 11 years old and she likes to sleep with her mom and dad every night if she could get her way. She comes in there about 2 or 3 nights a week. She sleeps on a separate mattress, however, she's 11 years old. And I said, well, usually, as advice I wrote to the email to this person, I said, well, usually when they're that age, you want to discourage them to come in your room and to get the fact of getting the idea of sleeping alone in their bedroom. I said, are you sure she's not trying to run away or trying to get away from somebody? Like somebody might be trying to mess with her when she's sleeping or something's going on? And she said, well, what do you say? And when I said something to them about it, as what the guy's telling me in the letter, the person got really angry at him and was talking real mean to him, and saying that, to her friend, to somebody else, that I'm mad at him because he's even suggesting that Jeremy, who is this person, may have done something to his sister inappropriately. And I said, well, what happens? What are some of the things that happen over there? I said, well, she tends to eat earlier than everybody else so she can go out with her friends, when normally in her family they would all always eat together. I said, well, when did this start? About 2.5 or 3 months ago. I said, well, does she do this every day? She said, well, at least on Saturday and Sunday they do, and they try to keep they try to keep them both separate because they really can't stand each other, as the letter goes on to say, because they both they really hate each other. They don't just say it when they're angry. They just really can't be in the same room. And like when I'm over their house at supper, he'll look at her and taunt her and just keep looking at her, and she'll say back to her brother, who is allegedly where there might have been something that happened, he'll stop looking at me, stop gawking at me, stop giving me those, give me those eyes, and then she would go and run and go out, run upstairs or go outside, to get away, to go play. And I said, well, that don't seem normal. I said, well, why you do that to her? And he goes, this is what the letter says. When the person asked him, he goes, I don't know. I just do it to get on her nerves. I said, well, you sure there's nothing more to it than that? And then I found out, well, I think, the parent may be trying to protect her daughter and protect her son from something that's happened. Like they might have walked in on them both doing something, or he was doing something to her inappropriately. Because from what the body says to me is that the guy used to have them over their house, and this son was accusing him of doing stuff to her inappropriately, which really wasn't the truth. Was not true at all. But what turned out to be, it was really more and more, by the way this is acted, it seems to me that something allegedly has happened, and they're just trying to protect both the daughter and the son because they don't want to admit it, and they're just trying to cover it up and trying to, and then she's all mad, acting all hateful towards that person, and, saying things like, I'm taking up my time. When it's time for me to leave, you just need to stop the chit-chat and let's go. Talking like a child to them and to the person, and making them feel it was just really strange behavior. And on Tuesday, she would often ride him to the store and take him places, and then, she knows that he don't like somebody over talking, so she just goes and does that. And of course he yells at her, because normally men will yell back out of frustration because the girl, she's trying to tell him something, but she won't tell him the whole story. She's just telling him like a little version of it. And yet she'll say, well, make statements. Well, I don't gossip. Like, I'm not like you, like saying like, I don't gossip, because you do. And, I said, well, and then the guy goes, well, was you talking about something that happened with a family over there? That because you told me some stuff about that before. And she said, well, if you keep talking about it, I'm going to leave. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to find out if that's what it is. And, all you have to do is say yes or no. I'm not going to ask you 20 questions. And that's what the guy said. And of course, she just, and then she just started talking over top of him. And, he just yelled back at her. And she just said, well, I don't like to be yelled at. She got her stuff and walked out, slammed the door, walked downstairs and left. So, I guess she was thinking that maybe that might make him mad. And that just made, the person think when she left that, something's definitely wrong here. And then it kind of put it all together, because her daughter's eating at a much different time from everybody else, when yet they used to all eat together around the table. Because the writer also says in this email that he's asked her and asked the children, all the boys there, that why don't you eat together with everybody else when we eat like she used to? And they said, well, I don't know why. It's just something that mom and dad just started doing just in the last 2.5, 3 months. I said, but why? Because it used to be they always wanted her to eat with you all. And they said, well, I don't understand it either. It just don't seem right. So, and then she's acting all mean to this person, like they keep bringing it up when really they haven't brought it up, or like they're trying to find proof when really they're not trying to find proof. They just made just a simple suggestion to have a discussion with her. And she's just either protecting her or protecting the son, because maybe something has happened and they don't want to believe it. So they're just trying to push it out of the way or under the rug, because some of this may be a problem, and it may be something that's evident in their family. And that maybe, and I think they may know that, and that's why they're reacting this way, because nobody made any suggestion. That's what he says. He didn't make no suggestion to her about it, outright. That the son definitely did this, but it's a possibility because he kept saying that he did something, to the same girl when they were over there, which he was very offended by it and very hurt by it because it wasn't true. And now they don't come over anymore. She says it's because he goes to say I indoctrinated his children when he really didn't. He was just sharing the Bible and the truth with them, and they were liking it and asking questions, and she didn't like it and they didn't like it. So they, just stopped having them come over, and and then because of all these allegations that the son that's allegedly may have done something to his sister has saying about him is really what may have happened with them. He goes on to say that he had a conversation. I said, that the guy was talking to him and said, well, have you ever seen a girl naked? Just have you seen a girl naked, like at school, or maybe did you walk in? And he goes, yeah, I see my sister naked. I said, well, when was that? Oh, I sometimes look at her sometimes at night when she's changing, or when she's in the bathroom. I'll look in the door and see her in there naked. I think it's, and he laughed. I said, well, you shouldn't be doing that. He says, well, no, but, I do look in on her sometimes. I said, why? I said, would you like her to look on you? He says, I don't really care if she does or not. I said, well, you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, if she's in the bathroom, it should be privacy. He said, well, I think, seeing girls' privates and all. And he said, that's what he said. Oh, it's totally disgusting. I don't know how anyone would want to do anything or anything of that nature about, looking at them or anything. I said, well, it's not so disgusting when you get older. That's what the guy said to him. I said, in the right context, it's not disgusting at all. That's where the children come from. I said, but you shouldn't be looking at your sister naked or looking at her privates or any part of her body when she's changing or when she's in her bedroom or when she's on her bed or whatever she's doing. You shouldn't be even in there, because girls have private rooms, because that's the reason, because she's got different anatomy than you. Oh, I've seen her naked. That's what the email says. He laughs. I said, well, you shouldn't be looking at her naked. I mean, because that's private. That's why girls are different. And that's why girls have different rooms. So that's what I said to him. And, of course, then flashing forward to today, Now I know why she was acting that way towards me, because she's assuming that I'll make a suggestion that he's really done something. Well, by the way she's acting, it seems like something may have happened. And she's trying to cover it up. And she's trying to protect him because something did happen, allegedly. They caught him doing it, walked in on it. Or she, her daughter told him that something happened, and they know that something has. So, with them getting mad at the person, it's kind of making them look sort of guilty. So, she was saying, well, she's a happy-go-lucky girl, according to this letter to email. And she's happy and all lovey-dovey and all. I said, well, sometimes girls can act that way, too, to hide abuse. As normally, they will act shy and withdrawn and timid, and will not have interest in being around, or they'll get emotional or cry if they see, if they look at certain parts of people if something's happened to them. But not always, because sometimes girls or boys, if they've been molested or abused by somebody, will sometimes use happiness to hide behind something like that happened to kind of block it out. But eventually, it's just going to come out. So my suggestion as a preacher is to still discuss with your daughter about it. Because if something's happened, if you don't address this issue now with your daughter, and he's going to go out and do the same to somebody else in the neighborhood. And, if you can address it in the home, and you can get it straight where authorities don't have to get involved, or he's going to get older and be at a church and try that on some girl, an older girl, and he's going to get himself locked up and he's going to be a sex offender. Because that's what it sounds like something happened, because they eat at different times, when yet they usually eat all together. Because, the guy goes in the letter and says, well, I've known these people for over 8 years. I've seen them grow up. I've known the girl in question since she was 6 years old. And I knew the guy that's in question, the son that we're talking about, may have done something to her, and probably has, by the way they're acting. More likely, something has happened. I've known him since he was about 7 or 8 years old, and he's like 13, 14 now. So, he's in middle school now. And, I feel sorry for the girl. I feel sorry for them. But if they can get under control now, then he won't get locked up. He won't be a sex offender. But if you don't get it under control and you just try to push it under the rug and think it's going to sort out, believe me, it doesn't. Because it will continue, and he will do it to someone else if you do not address this stuff right away, as soon as you can. And, it's better to do it now, because if someone else it happens to outside the family, because it will, because a lot of people that are like that, according to data, shows that many pedophiles and molesters will molest many children in their lifetime. They could have hundreds of children that they have molested and have not been caught, because the children have been too scared to go and tell, because they've been told not to, otherwise something horrible would happen to them. Or they would, or something might happen to their parents, or something, because that's how pedophiles are. They're predators, they're predatorial, and they prey on the vulnerable and the weak. And they take advantage of people, and they take advantage of situations as an opportunity so they can feast their appetite on molestation or child pedophilia on children, innocent children. And that's why you need to talk with your daughter, as I would suggest as a preacher, as soon as possible, so you can get this under control before it gets out to where the authorities step in and he goes to jail and he has to wear an ankle bracelet for the rest of his life, and he won't be able to be in normal society anymore because he'll be a child molester. And he'll always have that on his record. So I would definitely find out about this as soon as you can, and try to address this issue. If it's not a problem, then stop being angry. Stop taking it out on your friend, because that is not right, and he's not accusing you of anything or your child of anything. If there's nothing going on, then you don't need to act like you're trying to protect them or like you're trying to cover it up. and then acting real mad when it has not been brought up, except when the person asked you last week to suggest it to you, and that's what he says in here. He just suggests it to her. It could be a possibility because he's really honest with them. He's always helped them out with a lot of things, and it seems like the way they're acting, it seems like something might have happened. So anyway, just pray for the situation, that they will find a solution and that they will really think about it and really get this under wraps so it doesn't happen again, or that it doesn't happen to another child, as he gets older. And he may try to do this with other girls. He may have already done this with other children on the neighborhood, when they come over or if they spend the night. So just pray that she'll have this talk with her daughter and talk with him, and they can get this under wrap, and he can go to therapy or go to something to get this under control so he doesn't become a sex offender. Because it sounds like something has happened more and more because of the different eating schedules, and because she always wants to go in the room if she could have her way, as the email says here. At night when you're 11 years old, you don't usually stay in your parents' room, because at that time you usually just stay in your room. But if it sounds like she don't want to sleep alone, it sounds like she wants to go in there because she's trying to get away from somebody. And if she always is trying to get in there and always asking, so she has her in there 3 nights a week with them in a different mattress. So still, she needs to get in the room, and if there's something going on, it needs to be addressed. So anyway, this is Michael DeSilvis. Subscribe down below. And of course, I hope that this helps the person, and I hope that they get the help they need. Because I'm sure this person was just trying to help you out of love. I don't think he's trying to do a personal vendetta against your family. I think he's just really trying to help out because he really cares about the children, and he cares about you as a preacher and as a friend. And I think he just really wants to, to help you so you can be aware of what might be going on and possibly is going on. Or you may already know it's going on, but you're just too afraid to admit it or believe that it's happened. Because a lot of parents, when they walk in or catch somebody doing something inappropriate with their siblings, like brothers and sisters, they tend to try to hide it, or they tend to excuse it because they don't want to believe it. And they react the same way, and then they have different eating schedules and things like that. So they don't have to worry about the drama of them seeing each other and them aggravating each other because they really don't want to be around each other. And you got to wonder, normally kids do tease each other and they say things, but they really hate each other. That's what this email says, so that's a concern of mine. So anyway, just, pray about this and hopefully they get the help they need. And God bless. Take care. I love you. Have a good weekend and happy Easter. Bye for now. Michael Silvers from New Hunter Church of Christ. Advice and Counseling Minute.